Welcome back to the Us vs. Them channel. I'm your host, Vince, and we're going to break down the next fight for the upcoming fights this weekend. We got Kyle Nelson versus Matt Frevola. This is pretty much a pick'em fight right now. We got Nelson sitting at a -1 and 2, and the slight favorite right now by the slimmest of margins. We got Matt Frevola. That's sitting at a -125. Before we get into this breakdown, if I can remind you guys to hit the like button for this video and also subscribe to the channel. We had our first milestone last week and got 50 subscribers, so that's fucking awesome. And we're hoping to get to 60 by this weekend. So, please hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you guys for watching. After breaking down both these guys, the first thing I noticed is that Frevola really brings a pressure to fights. You guys probably might already know this if you're watching my channel, but Frevola is kind of one of those guys where if you're not doing the research, he's kind of easy to forget. He's been around the UFC for a while, but I don't know why I always forget about the guy, because he does bring a fun style to the fights for sure. A lot of his fights do end by finish, and from a researcher standpoint, I always appreciate that. I always appreciate when I don't have to watch a full 15 or 25 minutes of fights. But he does this because he's marching forward right off the bat. If you go through his Tapology and look at a lot of his results where he's getting finishes, almost all of them in the first round. And that's not super uncommon. A lot of guys who finish in the first round. But where Frevola kind of separates from those guys is that he really is like bringing forward the pressure. He's throwing everything he's got. Every single grappling exchange is like, the World Olympic Championship titles on the line. It's just a really, really high level, not high level, a really, really high output with the work rate. So he does tend to kind of slow down as the fights go on. Nelson, on the other hand, he's really kind of looking to counter strike. He's really good with the straight punches right down the middle. He's bumping up a weight class, so he's used to being a little bit taller and rangier of a fighter. But now that he's bumping up, obviously he's not going to always carry that advantage. But this weekend he is going to have a little bit of that advantage. He's going to have a little bit of reach and height advantage. So he's going to be able to pump out those straight shots a little bit easier. I definitely look for Nelson to be looking to hit those counter shots this weekend, especially since Frevola is definitely going to give him a lot of opportunities to do that, since he's going to be on the front foot the whole time. One thing Nelson's going to want to be mindful of for sure is Frevola's big ass right hand. He seems to always be looking to uncork that right hand, and if he lands it flush, it's opportunities for him to get the early finish. So especially in round one, Nelson's going to want to look out for that right hand. Once we get to round two, that's where I think the tide's going to start turning a little bit. I think Nelson has an opportunity to win round one if he just works the range. But when he gets to round two, that's where he can kind of start sitting down a little bit more on his punches. Frevola's punches, although they still carry the power to knock people out, so you got to still be mindful of them. But the difference in power between round one and rounds 2 and 3 is a drastic difference. And we have seen guys kind of in the beginning have to evade those punches that they can, once they get to rounds 2 and 3, they can kind of sit in the pocket and, match his aggression with their own aggression. So I think that's where Nelson's going to be looking to land his looping punches. Like I said, he's got good straight punches, but when he throws those looping punches, you can tell that there's some power behind that. And we're going to see if that power translates over, because like I said, he's coming up a weight class to 155. This will be his third stint at 155. He fought his debut. Who did he fight? He fought his debut against Diego Ferreira a while ago, and he got knocked out in the second round. And then he lost to Jai Herbert by decision. And those were 2 non-consecutive fights at 155, so they could have been short notice for sure. But I'm kind of rambling here, but that just leads me to my point that I was trying to say is I want to see if his power does transfer over once he gets to the bigger division. If this fight makes it to round 3, I don't really see it making quite that far, but if it does, that's where I see Nelson kind of finding a KO finish. The more tired that Frevola gets, the more easier it is the easier it's going to be for Nelson to punch him. He just becomes really hittable once he gets tired, and he just kind of stand there waiting to be hit. So, if Nelson can keep a steady stream of punches in his face, that's where I think he's going to find a finish. So it'll probably be sometime in the second or third round. That's what I'm going with. We're going to take Nelson on this one by KO. There is potential in this fight for Frevola to look to utilize his wrestling in this fight and, get takedowns and double legs and just kind of, out wrestle him or wrestle fuck him, as we sometimes say on this channel, and just kind of coast it out to a decision win. There's that possibility. I don't think that he's going to lean on the wrestling at all in the first round, because I just never seen him do it in the first round. But there is a potential for that to happen in rounds 2 and 3. So it's just something worth noting. But it's not going to change the pick that I have. I do think that Kyle Nelson's the good pick here. He's obviously, this is a pick'em fight, so I don't have the lines yet because we don't record this. We record it earlier in the week, so FanDuel and all the other places don't give us the lines yet. But I would imagine that the lines for the knockout is going to be pretty good on this one. So Kyle Nelson by knockout, we're going to lock that one in. That's all I got for you guys in this breakdown. Stop by for the next one. We got Charles Jourdain versus Davey Grant. If you guys know anything about this channel at all, you know Davey Grant is a, you know, we are big fans of Davey Grant. So I'm really excited to break down some of his fights, and I'm really excited to watch him fight this weekend and hopefully make some money off of him. So stay tuned for that video. And that's all I got for you guys today. I'm the fuck out of here.